Yeah, let's go. I ain't the first with the curse, with the thirst that I wanna be better, not worse, man.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Fantasy Football Truther. So for today's episode, I wanted to go over the Stinky Picks. This is like a combination of the ADPs and the ECRs, and ADPs are using like the different formats that are out there. Usually right now, obviously, it's just best ball for the most part. Start off. First person on the list, and it's in no particular order. I went through all the different platforms, and essentially what I did is I tried to find different people that I did not particularly like at their draft position, and just people that I thought were kind of stinky or bad picks. Number one is Ashton Genty. No hate on Ashton Genty, obviously. I do think he has a good opportunity with the Raiders. It is going to be one of those situations, though, where they do have improved quarterback play. They are still going to have, Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers, which again, Jacoby Myers is a solid number 2 and Brock Bowers is a solid number 1. I don't know how much the offensive line has truly improved for the Raiders during the offseason and even in the draft. So I don't really know how much people are factoring that into their ranking for Ashton Genty. What I can say is I have a lot of different historical analysis that I've compiled, and I'll definitely cover those in future episodes. The one thing I can say is that it's not every year we have a guy who's really scoring over 15 points per game, full PPR, especially for the running back position, who's also a rookie. So it's not something that's just a guarantee. Currently, I just feel like he's going the end of the first round, beginning of the second round. It's a little too high, a little too rich for my blood. It kind of reminds me of Marvin Harrison Jr. last year, where he went at pick 11, 12, 13, 14 usually, and that's where he was ranked by ECR as well. And we kind of saw how that turned out. I don't think it'll be that dramatic of like a fall off for him compared to Marvin Harrison, because obviously I think running backs are a little bit more of a stable position because you kind of control more of your own destiny, that you're not relying on Kyler Murray or anybody else to throw you the ball. I mean, I guess you are a little bit, but that's not predominantly where your point's coming from. And also you're taking him before like CMC, who I know is coming off of last year's disappointing injury and all that jazz. People are pretty low on him, but he's also going before Derrick Henry, Devon Achane. And again, you can say, okay, Derrick Henry's a year older, but I do like Derrick Henry because they give him a 2-year contract, which to me is more of a 1-year deal. And I get that it's 2 years, but it's a 1-year. Hey, if you show up, kill it, then you're guaranteed that second year. And he's done it for the past decade. And Devon Achane, I know there's injury concerns with Tua, and I get all that, but these are people that you've seen, finish as top 12 guaranteed running backs, and I like a guarantee more than a stretch for a first round pick or a really early second round pick. The one that made me laugh the most, I think, is Marvin Harrison Jr. At pick 35. So with that pick, he's going at the end of the third round, and they have him at wide receiver 17. I know that we like to believe in second-year breakouts, and I really do think that is a thing in the NFL pretty much at the majority of positions. As they get a little bit older, more experience, and have another offseason to prepare with their team. The issue that I have is I don't believe that he's the number 1 target getter on his team. I think that will be Trey McBride. Even if he took a big step, I still don't think that he would be the number 1 target earner for the Cardinals. And if you're not the number 1 target earner, I have a hard time taking you as almost a first round wide receiver and someone who's going in the third round. Like, that's just not where I want to have you. And I feel like he's just way too high. And also, a lot of people are really high on him in general. I am not. I think he'll be more of a late wide receiver 2, early wide receiver 3. That's where I would project him more than likely. Best case scenario and worst case scenario within my own rankings, he's definitely a lot lower than that. The next person is another running back, and of course it's another rookie, is Marion Hampton. He is going at running back 15 currently. And again, a lot of people, for whatever reason, are really high on him, which I find to be very confusing because, again, I've talked about it in the introduction episode that people don't watch the tape. I watched the tape of Marion Hampton. I wasn't really impressed with his speed. I wasn't really impressed with his breaking tackle ability. And you can say whatever you want about the teams that he played that were, I don't even remember all the teams he played, because a lot of them were like UCF teams, and no offense to UCF, but they're just smaller schools, and those are where the majority of his performances came from. The other big thing too for me is people are acting like Najee Harris isn't a factor, and I find that to be kind of disgusting, because I don't think that Harbaugh brought him over, and I know it's only a 1-year deal, but I don't believe he brought him over to be the backup, and it could be a very 1A, 1B, and even if Omarion Hampton is the 1A, there is a real reality where we see Najee Harris taking a lot of the goal line work and taking the touchdowns away. So even if he does have let's say a good rookie season, I think a big dip in his production could come from the lack of red zone touches. Also, again, you're drafting before Joe Mixon, Alvin Kamara, Kenneth Walker, and again, those are just people that I've seen do things already that I have faith and trust in. Omarion Hampton just isn't somebody who's a running back one or a fringe running back one, and it's just not somebody that I'm interested in taking that high. Next on the list is Jackson Smith-Njigba. He is going as wide receiver 12. I believe that one is for ADP specifically. ECR has him a little bit lower, but again, for ADP, I don't really feel like Cooper Kupp is going to be a huge factor. What I am concerned about is that Sam Darnold last year was behind one of the better offensive lines in the NFL. I don't think, as we saw with the Jets, that he does very well under immense pressure. And I can confidently tell you that Seattle was one of the bottom offensive line units last year. I don't really feel like them picking up a guard and I think one other position maybe in free agency. The guard wasn't the draft, but in free agency is really going to move the needle all that much to help him out. And Geno Smith was under a lot of pressure last year and did not have one of his best seasons. I do feel like Kenneth Walker is going to have a better season than he did last year. Hopefully he can stay healthy. I also think Zach Charbonnet is going to take a step. And also, if we're being 100% honest, Cooper Kupp is on any team right now. As much as I love Cooper Kupp, he is a fringe wide receiver 2, like on any team, not for fantasy, just real life. And I don't feel like there's anyone else on that team that's going to really draw a lot of targets aside from the two of them on a consistent basis. And again, he's barely hanging on as a wide receiver 2 maybe. And so that definitely means a lot of rolled coverage, bracket coverage, double coverage, and just a lot of focus the defenses are going to be able to put on JSN. And I just don't think that's going to lead to him being a number 1 wide receiver on anybody's team, unfortunately. The last one I have to always say, because I said it last year, and of course, I got hate for it among my friend group, but is Patrick Mahomes. He is going as QB7. I've heard so many people in the fantasy football space talking about how they believe that Patrick Mahomes, he's got to have a bounce back season, but I'm a bigger believer of what have you done for me lately, and Patrick Mahomes has not performed. Again, the thing being is that defense is too good. Their defense has set them up where they don't need to pass the ball. He doesn't have to be Superman like he did in the years where their defense was mediocre, to say the least. So I truthfully don't believe that there's any world that we're going to see until their defense gets worse. So maybe this year their defense is worse, and that would be the hedge you're hoping for, is their defense isn't as good, or people are saying like he has so many weapons. Again, doesn't matter how many weapons you have if you only need to score 21 points on average to win a football game, because obviously if you only need to score 21 points, that's not a lot of touchdowns, and some of that could be going to the running back as well. So again, I just don't see a world where Patrick Mahomes is finishing the season as the QB7 overall. It just doesn't strike me as something that's remotely possible. All right, guys, so hopefully this video was entertaining to some extent. Hopefully you got some good information out of it. Hopefully you can maybe apply some of the stuff I said and maybe avoid some of the picks that I think are a little stinky this year, and set yourself up in a better position where you're avoiding those players. So that's what I got for y'all. Have a blessed day. Look forward to seeing y'all. No, just kidding. You'll be seeing me hopefully real soon. Bye.